Hello and welcome back to House of Football. I am your host, Graham O'Toole, and this week we are joined by TikTok sensation and Liverpool fan, Jonathan Morley. Welcome back.
What's up, Graham? Thank you.
And he is Ireland's #1 food reviewer and, of course, huge Man United and Bows fan. Nasti is back on the pod.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. Nasti, we will, unfortunately for you, have to touch on Ten Hag's future very soon, but we have to address what happened last night at the Emirates. 5-0 to Arsenal against Chelsea. And Jonathan, with all the talk over the last few weeks about this is City's league, it is done, it is over, did Arsenal say, hold on a second here now, the league is by far not done yet?
Yeah, absolutely. And I wish we would do that. I mean, I said it to you, I said it to you outside, Graham, about statements about what Arsenal did yesterday and how rare Liverpool do that. Liverpool struggled over the line against Sheffield United and Brighton. We had enough chances to beat Palace, but we lost at home to them. It's one thing that I think will probably cost us ultimately at the end of the season is just we're not potent enough. Arsenal scored 5 yesterday, but realistically they could have had about 10. And it was a huge statement. When I was outside Anfield a couple of weeks ago against Palace, I was like, okay, today we need to make a statement. I said it in a TikTok and I said, we need to put in a performance today. We need to put in a statement. We are not going anywhere. Arsenal did that last night. They were absolutely excellent. You can talk about how poor Chelsea were, but ultimately City will be looking at that game and saying this team is not going to go anywhere.
A few weeks ago, Nasty, you had City as favourites for the title after seeing that game last night. Do you still think it's City's, or have Arsenal put down a real marker?
I would still have it City, personally. I think Arsenal definitely have a say there. I'd put them second favourites 100%. But they were excellent last night, there's no denying that. I do think, I agree with Jonathan, a combination of Arsenal being brilliant and Chelsea just being dire, especially without Palmer as well. Really seeing the difference without him and his influence that he has on that side. But yeah, no taking away from that Arsenal performance. They definitely still have a say in that, and it's far from over.
Nicholas Jackson, the worst sign of the season? What do we think?
Up there. I mean, listen,
Right
all I'm saying is, you know, Spurs fans have to live with the fact that that man scored a hat-trick against them, and none of them were penalties.
And tonight, Jonathan, huge game on Merseyside. Liverpool go to Everton. What are we thinking? Do Liverpool have it in them? They were good at the weekend. They got the result. They probably didn't play their best football. Got the result they needed. Will they win tonight and put the pressure back on Arsenal?
I think so. But it will ultimately most likely be one of those struggle, kind of stumble over the line performances again. And look, we're in a title race. You get 3 points. That's all you need. I mean, that keeps you in it. It's as simple as that. But I think what you have found with Liverpool over the last couple of weeks is you can't continue to stumble. Look at the United game, look at the Palace game. You can't continue to stumble. You can't continue to play these games, miss a ton of chances, and expect to stay in it, the title race, and expect to get 3 points at the end. I think Liverpool will win tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's very, very close.
And can you describe your feeling yesterday when you saw the news about Jota out for 2 weeks?
I was in the car driving, and I literally nearly went through a red light. I was just looking at my phone. Actually, it popped up on an app, and I was like, that has to be a joke. It has to be a joke. And I was just absolutely fuming because ultimately we have forwards who are completely out of form at the moment. Our only forward maybe on form is Luis Diaz, and he's not good in front of goal whatsoever. So I think that just fuels even more that Liverpool will struggle over these next 3 games without Jota, because we create so many chances, but Jota is the only one you genuinely back at the moment anyway to take. Maybe if he gets 2 chances to take one. Nunez and Salah need about 5 to take one.
Nasty, I'm sorry to do this to you, but we have to relive what happened last weekend at Wembley.
Do we have to?
I'm sorry.
Do we really have to?
And the question I have this week for you, Nasty, is should United just cut ties with Ten Hag right now before even the end of the season? Have it done. What do you reckon?
Listen, people won't like me for saying it, but I wouldn't personally. I'd be pro Ten Hag, and that's. I mean, listen, there's nothing evidence based off United's performances to indicate that that's a valid take. But to be honest with you, I'm not in with the whole sacking managers. prematurely. I didn't think they should have done it with Ollie. And Ten Hag hasn't even fulfilled 2 seasons. From my stance, I just don't see it as 100% his fault. I think there's, an abundance of players at the club who should not be there. And the issues for years with United have been deep rooted within the club. Going through managers, Van Gaal, Mourinho, even back to Moyes, and then Ranić, Ollie, and now. I just think, the common denominator there, there has to be something deeper than the managerial issues. There are players there who are capable, but I think there's an abundance of players there who are just robbing a living. And I would give Ten Hag next season.
Okay.
At least till Christmas.
Jonathan, you're wincing.
I'm just buoyed by that statement. I think give Ten Hag next season, give him the season afterwards. Please just extend his contract. Please. I'm begging. And to be fair, I don't think he should be sacked before the end of the season. I really don't. I think that would be a really brash decision. You might win an FA Cup. And all of a sudden then the season doesn't look as bad. Is there a better replacement out there right now? Maybe not. Klopp is going and we're struggling for one. So, look, but I think in the summer, ultimately, he has to go. Yeah, I hope he doesn't.
I don't think there's anybody who's going to come in right now and work with that group of players and change the results that's going to happen with City. I think either way, that's just a game that doesn't pan out well for us. So, yeah, he has to stay till the end of the season. I don't think that should be up for debate. But I would honestly, give him another window, personally.
But is it not a case where you see managers who've come in a shorter space of time? We look at the likes of Ange and Unai Emery, and they've completely transformed the playing style of Spurs and Villa. Yet you look at Man United and they don't even seem to have a clear playing style. Is that not completely on Ten Hag? You can blame the players all you want, but surely Ten Hag just isn't getting through to those players.
I think there's a huge amount of pressure, which obviously has clearly got to him. But, the thing for me is that we see that United can do it. We've had some big performances, some big results. In my opinion, we're responsible for Liverpool's demise and derailment of their season. So there's big moments like that, but obviously there's, performances that we can't defend, not only this season, last season as well, that have just been brutal. But again, as I said, I do. Of course, some of the onus is on Ten Hag. It has to be. But I do think there's just so many players there. There needs to be a big clear out, essentially.
If they were to get rid of him, because I was reading yesterday that the new technical director, Jason Wilcox, is coming in and he's going to audit Ten Hag. Now, I don't really understand what that means. Is it going to be like in the back of a classroom watching a teacher and taking notes in the dressing room and following around with a clipboard at a training session? But do you think he can survive this audit that they're talking about?
No, ultimately. And with the changes happening at Manchester United, I don't see him surviving. Not a chance. As Nasti said there, I don't think it's all his fault, but he's got to take a ton of the blame. Nasti as well, you mentioned there about giving him another transfer window. His signings at Manchester United have been pathetic. Genuinely pathetic. And you look at somebody like Anthony there at the weekend. What an embarrassment. What an absolute embarrassment. Not only as a footballer, but as a human being. Do you know what I mean?
No,
what
I
a
agree.
disgrace.
It was brutal. Especially for those Coventry players who put such a shift in. But you also have to, I just think the whole atmosphere around the club is terrible as well. You look at Sancho, for example. I watched Sancho in that second leg against Atletico last week. Yeah. That's not the Sancho that was playing for United earlier this season or last season. That's a different player. That's Sancho from back in his Dortmund days. So I don't know, that just looked funny to me. And then if you brought him back, I don't think he performed for us. I just think there's so much negativity and pessimism around the club that it's just so deep rooted. Something needs to change there.
Let's just say then this audit happens and they say, no, we want you out, Eric. Sorry about that. Who do you want in? Because, there's a lot of clubs looking for managers. You got Liverpool, Bayern, I think Barcelona as well. Who is out there that you think would come to Manchester United over those other clubs?
It's a difficult one. You even see with Liverpool, a club that knows they have to get a new manager. Obviously, Slot now looks to be confirmed, but, before him, that was all up in the air. There's not too many available.
Would you take Tuchel? Take Tuchel?
I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be completely opposed to it. I mean, listen, the rumours out there from what I've heard about Ineos is that their preference would be Graham Potter.
Oh.
And I would 100% take Thomas Tuchel over Graham Potter. I don't think Potter's a bad manager, but I think we clearly seen, pressure really got to him at Chelsea. Didn't have a great group to deal with there either, but he had a lot of money. Be a similar situation at United, a lot of money, not a whole lot of talent. So I'm not too sure he's the man for the job, especially where the club is at this moment. Tuchel could thrive. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
He's won everywhere he's gone. He's won at Dortmund. He won the
could be a short-term job though. It
Yeah.
could be. Like
he loves a basket case because he's managed Chelsea and PSG as well. So, Jonathan, I know your probably mind is on the Liverpool manager, but who do you think? Because it's probably two very different people who will be employed by Liverpool and Man United. Who do you think Sir Jim Ratcliffe should hire?
I think he should keep Ten Hag. But for real, genuinely, Tuchel, I would love to see Tuchel at United purely because I think he's living off that one Champions League. He's came into Bayern this season. He's made them significantly worse. Granted, they're in the the semi-finals of the Champions League. He is good in Europe, to be fair, but you have to get to Europe in order for your manager to actually be good in it. But no, I think he's very overrated. Even that final against City that they actually won, City were really poor that day. Pep, once in a blue moon, got it tactically very, very wrong. So I would like to see Tuchel come to United. Obviously, you mentioned Southgate as well. You mentioned Potter. Any of those three. As a Liverpool fan, I would be happy to see United employed.
He is Mr. Europe as well. Like he also had that PSG final. He got them into the final, didn't he, as well? So
can I actually put a name you mentioned there to you, Nasti, as a United fan? Because I've got a lot of United fan mates, and when this name was being spouted about, they were like, no. But I could see definitely potential in it. Gareth Southgate. And I know the football he plays with the team he has at England just don't match at all. He's playing too defensively for that team. However, you said there that the Man United system and just the whole club in general, it's a toxic mess. That's kind of the way England was when he took over. If you hear any of the old players like Neville and Gerrard and Lampard, they talk about how they never enjoyed turning up for training with United. However, now you see the likes of Declan Rice and Saka and even Pickford. They're loving playing for England. He's created a really good atmosphere with the England squad, which I think probably Man United need right now. Somebody to kind of bring everybody together, because you look at the likes of Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, they're pushing away from Ten Hag. They need somebody to bring them together, albeit the playing style won't be great, but even get him in for a few years, create that good culture, and then go from there. What do you think about that?
When you immediately said it to me there, my reaction was no, but it is a valid point. And I agree with you. Obviously, that England setup had a lot of talent for years. That was never an issue, but he has changed the environment there. Even in his first tournament there, the 2018 World Cup, I think they finished fourth in that as well, so they did quite well. International football is just so different though, and I would be very wary of that. He's in a position now where he's preparing for matches every 3 months, preparing every week. I'm not so sure how he'd fare, especially at the top level. Definitely wouldn't be on my top 5 for appointments, but you could be right about the atmosphere, because something definitely needs to change there before we even begin looking at the tactics.
Well, we got to give Ten Hag some credit. I know it was a shambles of a semi-final, but he has got to his 3rd cup final in 2 seasons. Do you give yourselves any chance against City, or do you think the gap has ever been bigger between Man United and City right now?
Probably not, to be honest. Definitely. I mean, over the long run, we're talking for a couple of seasons now, there's been a huge gap. I would say, when Moyes was managing us, that was quite big, but obviously we won the league beforehand that season. So, over the course of a couple of seasons, I would say so. Now between United and City, there's a monumental gap. As for the game itself, obviously, absolutely brutal. Only United could have their fans depressed to get through to an FA Cup final. That could only be Man United. But it could be a closer game than people think. It always is those games where we think we're going to get wrote off and then we turn up. So, I don't know. I would still have City winning it, but I do expect it to be a relatively close game, albeit a terrible turnout there on Sunday.
Well, there we have it. Nasty wants him having another transfer window, and Jonathan Morley wants him to sign a 10-year contract extension. If you are watching this video, you can check out the full podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to let us know what you think in the comments below. Should Ten Hag be sacked before the end of the season or given more time at Manchester United? And of course, give the lads a follow at Jonathan Morley LFC on TikTok and Jonathan Morley 97 on Instagram. And Nasty _2K across everything.